be afraid. Be very afraid. Be very, 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 very afraid. It's showtime.
Hello, and welcome to Video Scaries, a series where we look at the various bits and pieces of video that scared us senseless as kids, and we'll see if they can still scare us now, all these years later. And we have come to the final episode of the current run. And to finish off with, I thought we'd take a look at some controversial adverts. What makes an advert controversial? Well, for this episode, I'm taking a selection of adverts compiled by Hello, I'm a Pizza, and go and check out that channel, there's some really great compilations there. I've taken these adverts that several hundreds or even thousands of members of the public have had a major issue with. So to start things off, let's take a look at this one from Noodle that we will call Horn.
Guys?
Tom, what is that?
Nothing?
Tom, have you got the pot noodle horn?
Of course not.
Let me see.
Get off me, maniac! Okay, I have got the pot noodle horn. It's big and brassy, and I'm going to blow it.
Tom!
No time for chit-chat, baby. My pot noodle horn is angry like a snake. Sorry about that.
Oh, mate, we all get the pot noodle horn sometimes. Have you got the pot noodle horn?
Yeah, you see why this was controversial? For 2005, this was still seen as pretty out there to be broadcast on TV. The connotations are far too on the nose. The image of this man whacking a woman round the face with his horn is quite unsettling, and I know the creators of this probably decided to make this advert for a bit of humour and a bit of fun, but ultimately it just comes off as incredibly crude, childish, and just plain stupid. Scary, but not necessarily for the conventional or right reasons. Moving on, our next advert is from Phones for You, titled Little Girl.
Hello, the Samsung Toco icon is only $59.95 on Pay As You Go. Phones for You, missing our deals will haunt you.
Okay, so this one is definitely more scary from the traditional horror angle. The whole setup for this advert is very well done. You have a woman walking through a very dimly lit car park, the image of something around her getting closer and closer, and when you do finally see this little girl, it does actually provoke quite a jump scare, like any good and cheap horror film worth its salt should do. When you find out it's for a phone company, that does sort of kill any of the scariness out of it, at least for me. But until those final few seconds, I have to give props to the creators for generating a lot of tension, suspense, and maybe even a final scream out of some of you. Next up, remember Excite Chewing Gum? Well, this is one of their classics from 2003, Dog Breath.
Excite, extreme mint refreshment.
Well, do we see why people got upset? Not only is this man a representation of how disgusting we can all be the morning after an extremely heavy night out, but he then proceeds to throw up a wet dog, and it's not off screen. You see every part of this happen, and it just makes me feel a bit sick watching, to be honest. And the fact that his partner kisses him even after he's had the gum, it's a wonder really, because he seems to be living in his own filth. Overall, I don't have much else to say, but this advert is just disgusting to watch. And if that was your first time viewing, well, I hope you're still here. Now then, time for one from the Department of Health. Let's give it a look.
Fine. Brilliant. All right, I'll see you on the 9th. Okay, bye.
The average smoker needs over 5,000 cigarettes a year. Get unhooked. Call 0800 169 0169 or visit getunhooked.co.uk.
Another one that goes for pure horror. So, a dingy office to start, nothing new there, until suddenly this guy gets a hook straight through his mouth and is dragged all the way outside just because of the urge to have a smoke. I find this one quite a powerful advert, to be honest, and I can see why people were upset, probably because of the horror elements, but I think the connotations are pretty spot on. It's also not as scary as it could be. Add a few screams or yelps of pain from the man and it could have been something quite terrifying. But as it stands, it's a well-made advert with a powerful and graphic message, but clearly one that was too much for hundreds of viewers. Next on our list, we take a look at an ad from Barnardo's, and it's quite a serious one.
They've let you out again, have they? You worthless little cow!
Come on in. Can't read. Check the fruit.
I don't know what it says, all right?
You okay? Here, 20 quid.
Mom, give me the money!
You worthless little cow!
Can't read. I don't know what it says.
Here, 20 quid.
Give me the money!
Worthless little cow!
I don't know what it said.
Here, 20 quid. Worthless!
It says
20 quid.
money!
Worthless!
It says
20 quid. 20 quid. 20 quid. 20 quid.
A very simple advert with a supremely powerful statement. Now, of course, I understand that not all children who steal or are abused or don't achieve well in school will end up locked away on drugs or go through those motions, but the truth of the matter is, this cycle does happen, it exists, and I commend Barnardo's for attempting to showcase just some of the aspects that this cycle entails. I can see why people complain that their children would be watching something they deemed inappropriate, but again, if it's for educational or awareness purposes, then surely they should see it and be alerted to stuff like this that does happen and does go on in life. It's controversial, sure, but very powerful and poignant. Onwards we go to one from Act on CO2. Let's take a look.
There was once a land where the weather was very, very strange. There were awful heat waves in some parts, and in others terrible storms and floods. Scientists said it was being caused by too much CO2, which went up into the sky when the grown-ups used energy. They said the CO2 was getting dangerous. Its effects were happening faster than they had thought. Some places could even disappear under the sea, and it was the children of the land who'd have to live with the horrible consequences. The grown-ups realized they had to do something. They discovered that over 40% of the CO2 was coming from ordinary everyday things like keeping houses warm and driving cars, which meant if they made less CO2, maybe they could save the land for the children.
Is there a happy ending?
This one is quite interesting. I can understandably see the message that this is trying to get across, that we need to use less energy to create less CO2 and less climate change as a result. The complaints were that this advert exaggerated the state of climate change and created a sort of fear-mongering atmosphere for younger generations of audiences. I see where that argument comes from, but at the same time, I think the advert's efforts are not unfounded. It may be a long time before it happens, but if climate change continues to worsen and worsen, then the events in this storybook could indeed befall the Earth one day. It's a very bleak outlook, sure, but I do love the ambiguous ending. As the little girl asks, is there a happy ending? The advert abruptly then ends and it prompts the question to the audience. Moving on, I've admittedly missed some of the adverts on Hello I'm a Pizza's compilation, so check that video out if you want to see all 10 of them. The number one most controversial advert was one from KFC, and it's just women talking with their mouths full. I don't really see why that's a major issue, but okay, whatever. So, I thought to finish, we would take a look at an advert that I've had requested from the very beginning of this series. Enjoy. Now I know you all remember that one. This ad was everywhere. It was on TV between programs. It was in the cinemas before a film would start. It would be on DVDs before the main menus. If you were on the bus to school and said something stupid like, "You wouldn't steal the bus," everyone would know exactly what you were talking about. It's a cleverly made advert focusing more on statements and insanely fast download speeds. I mean, come on, we all wanted that girl's download speed. I don't find it scary necessarily, but I can see why some people did. But regardless of what I think, this advert has entered public consciousness around the world as one of the most recognisable anti-piracy ads of all time. And with that, we have come to the end of Video Scaries. I hope you enjoyed basking in the nostalgic clips that once upon a time made us cower or shriek with terror. And a massive thank you to each and every one of you who are either watching this now or have ever watched a Video Scaries episode. You helped me make this series become a favourite on the channel, and whilst it may be taking a rest for now, it's definitely not dead, and it will return one day. So what to take away from today? I think it's the following.
Have you got the pot noodle horn?
Thank you for watching. We hope you like, subscribe and share the video around, and we hope that you join us for our new series next time.
North or south, east or west, the test is, can you finish what you start? Take heart. Look bravely through the dragon's eye.